Anywho, hey there YouTubers, FatOver135, just bringing a quick vid here about the Pokemon 2009 World Championships. Over here is the starting link explaining falling to other links like the TCG World Championship websites, last questions, last chance qualifiers, and the competitors. And right here, I'm going to click on the official TCG World website. And if you look at this closely, as of right now, it is 26 days, 18 hours, 56 minutes, and 10 seconds to go until the World Champs. And I'm not really interested in the TCGs, but more on the video games, so I'm gonna hit a link going to the next, to the, to the video game championships. And let's see, here we go, Pokemon Video Championships, and underneath it'll say, in San Diego, California, 60 of the best Pokemon Platinum version players from around the world will compete for the ultimate claim to Pokemon fame at the Pokemon VGC. Highly competitive event in the United States, Japan, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, blah blah blah, determine the finalists for the exciting competition. A national tournament in St. Louis identified the best players in the U.S. and these trainers under an invitation to compete against the top participants in the other country. Now on August 15th, this will say the best players are going to compete in one of the tournaments. This is not exaggeration, this is actually true. One of the biggest Pokemon tournaments and most intense ever held. And at the bottom, the last sentence right here just says stay tuned for more info. More info right here. Okay, now let me make some explanations about this. Prepare for itemized answers. A. This is the weird thing, putting in San Diego, California. It's kind of an unknown city, especially with Pokemon, so I really don't think that they really should hold it there, especially for the fact that they held, they held at least one or two. They held at least, they held 1 in San Francisco for the qualifiers, and they held another one close to it, which you could probably say, Seattle, Washington, since it's right on the border, close to the border of California, or stayed away from it. Either way, it's kind of bullshitty that most players from the East have to travel all the way to the West to compete in the World. Well, but that's kind of like the backlash of what happened last year. All the players from the West had to go East to Orlando. What I'm suggesting for the 2010 championships is that they move it to a neutral part of the U.S. Somewhere I wouldn't say the Midwest. I'd say someplace easily accessible to all players and wouldn't take so much time. One of the places I'm suggesting would be New York City, my hometown, because it does kind of make sense, being that New York City holds one of the only two Nintendo Worlds in the entire country, and the fact that New York City brings along New York City is one of the top 5 cities, probably in the top 3, in most Pokemon players in the whole country. Let's see. My second choice for the city would probably be Dallas, Texas. Even though they consider it in the Southwest, it's more just along mid-south, kind of a neutral zone. It'd be perfect, especially in the summer. Perfect weather. Probably have a lot of good sights to see over there. Okay. Oh, just excuse for a sec. This train passing. Okay, we're back. Okay. B. Let's see. What another problem I kind of have with the whole World Championships is the fact that they have 60 players just all from around the world. That's kind of in general. The weird thing here is that people here really don't explain to you if the 60 around the world are if it's 60 in senior division and 60 in junior division, or they're just 60 in total, which is kind of bullshitting compared to last year's, or I think they held 64 at least, which would be like 32 in junior and 32 in senior. So I'm guessing this is how they're probably going to do it again, like 30-30 in each division, but it's kind of bullshitty for like two players that have to play like, I'm not sure in which round, the first or the second round, like two players, and I'd say okay, like okay, one player in each junior and senior division is kind of bullshitted because they'd have to play like an extra round to determine who advances from their round, because like after their match, oh, excuse for a sec. Okay, we're back. And it's kind of bullshitted that like let's say the first round for like the seniors division, there are 30 players. Everybody's broken up, and it'll be 15 people. I mean, okay, 30 players, 15 matches. It's kind of weird. It's kind of skewed since there'll be like an odd number of people moving to the next round. That means 15 people moving to the next round. And I'm not sure how that's gonna work out there, being that there'll be like an empty slot, and that's not gonna seem kind of fair. Saying like, oh, there we go. Sorry, I made a mistake. It'll be kind of like skewed because like whoever's in that last bracket, or then the last of the first bracket, they'll probably get a bye after the first round's over. Like after all 30 players play against each other, there'll be 15 players in the next round, and for one of those 15 players, rather than having an opponent, they'll just get sent to the next round in the final 8 and won't have to go through matches. It's kind of bullshit to some of the other players that have to bust their asses off. That's kind of all I have to say for my point B. Let's see. Oh yeah, one video I saw one of my YouTube friends, what they kind of made a point is kind of true when they had an interview with PokePress. It's kind of bullshit what they were saying. What they were saying is true. It's kind of bullshit that the fact that this year's whole, like in all 5 countries, they had to do the tournaments by random drawings rather than like the years before. Okay, like the 06, the tournament with the GBA, you had to answer a question through Pokemon.com, probably like 20 questions, and if you got those right, you were able to go to the qualifiers there, and those best trainers in the qualifiers would duke it out, and those trainers would go to the national championship. Same thing as last year, you'd have to answer a certain amount of questions, which means if you had a decent knowledge of Pokemon, you'd go to the qualifiers, which means you should be an alright trainer. This year, they kind of bullshitted because this year they had probably like 1 or 2 more qualifiers, like the same amount of qualifiers they did in the 06, but they did it at random drawing. Like, it's kind of bullshit. Like, nobody had to do any questions. I mean, like, it's kind of weird. Like the first one, the Seattle tournament, like anybody just came. They only had 128 slots, and there were like over 500 people competing. And like one of my friends, he flew over there. He didn't even get a chance to compete because of random drawing. Like some kind of random thing machine over there electronically chooses like 128 random numbers out of 486 from each division, and those 128 lucky son of a bees would get to duke it out. Now, luckily for each of the qualifiers, sorry about that, the best players would have been, no matter what, they moved on to the final rounds, but it was kind of bullshit that there were probably like 2 or 3 good trainers in each division, which means the others were just wasted slots and they were wasting their times. Anywho, like I was saying, like the whole thing of this year was kind of bullshit, the way they chose the trainers and all, and I think all the players that were going to the national championships could have had better opponents, and if it weren't for the random drawing, like at least over half of the players around the world going wouldn't even be there, as opposed to the TCG where you actually had to use skill to get to the qualifiers. Anywho, last words, for those that didn't make it, or for those that couldn't go, just start going for next year, because I've got a chance to win. I'm on my way to
might just believe.